Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in on this special episode today. I have a special guest, Kris Krohn. Flew into Utah to see him. We're going to be talking about how he built his real estate empire, and he's literally crushing it in the real estate game. So the first thing that I'll talk about is, Kris, you retired at 26. Like, what's that all about? And can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I used to use the word retire, but then I found that I couldn't not work, and I found the work that I love doing. So I've amended it. Now it's just, that's when I achieved my financial independence.
Got it.
I don't even think if that was when I achieved financial freedom to live the lifestyle that I am now, but I had achieved a level of security. I had achieved a level of independence. And I did it in 4.5 years. I did it when I was in school. A lot of people when they're in college, they're looking for getting vocational training. And I quickly figured out that I was told, at least, I was too dumb to become a doctor. I failed out of my chemistry classes. And
that's great.
So I said, you know what? What if during college, I didn't just get my degree, but what if I also figured out my entire career and did it and then even retired by the time I was done? So it became my goal. And so I actually, in 4.5 years during my college years, I ended up buying 25 properties and baby single-family homes. These single-family homes were producing a side residual income of about $12,000 a month. That exceeded my goal for being able to quit my job. And so, yeah, at first I said retire, but really I just became financially independent so that I could really live life on my terms and build the company I wanted to build and create value in the world the way I wanted to and spend the time with my family that I wanted to.
That's awesome. Let's be honest. People like you and I will never retire.
I know, dude. I know we'd be 80 years old. Like, all right, suck away.
I'd be so bored.
I know.
That's great. So how long did it take you to get to that, starting your company, and starting to get rocking? How long did it take to crack six figures?
So it all started with the game. I was in this commission-only job, which really, as a college kid, starving college kid, it sucked. I was made like 18 grand my first year. It was the most I had ever made before in my life because I was young.
Yep.
But it was also less than half of the national average, and I knew that. So I set this goal. I said, I'm going to double my income. And it seemed really believable for me because I thought I should at least be at or just below average of an adult working person. I've got a sales commission job that I suck at, but if I get better at it, that'll be good. And do that year, I double my income. And I practiced 365 days of that. And so I decided to do it again. And that next year I broke 100,000. And that was my third year. And then after that, I broke $250,000. And then it was $500,000. And then I couldn't figure out how to double it to actually get to $1 million. I had to do a couple more breakthroughs and get some mentors to help figure that kind of game out. But yeah, it actually happened pretty quickly. But it really wasn't until 4.5 years when the six figures was rolling in residually, where I actually didn't have to work to crack that six-figure code. That was, for me, the bigger accomplishment because now I got the money without putting in the time.
Got it. How many hours were you working, during all that craziness?
Dude, it was kind of crazy because full-time student, and I picked a relatively easy major once I knew that I couldn't have the one that I wanted. So I usually had 15 to 18 credits, so it was full load. And then I would work about 35 to 40 hours at my company. It was a little less than probably technical full-time because it was performance-based, and I pushed myself to figure out how to perform. And so between full-time school, being married, and full-time work, I'll be honest, I don't feel like I really had a lot of spare time in the beginning. In fact, when I became financially free, it was like that one year I graduated college, I left my job, and I could breathe. It was just... It was worth it.
So to be clear, you were going to school, working, and starting your business on the side.
All of it.
And any minute of spare time.
Yeah, and it was crazy.
You watching football on Sundays?
Never. Dude, I had no life. But it was a small price to pay for the freedom where it's like, now I travel over the world and I do whatever I want.
Yep.
But yeah, there was definitely a sacrifice period.
Got it.
Delaying gratification, no luxury. It was just figuring out how to win in real estate, how to build wealth. I made that residual income, those freedom dollars. I made that the grand prize, and it worked. What
were some of the biggest challenges that you faced in getting started, and then in general, just with owning and running a business?
I think one of the things that went against me was my youth. I mean, real estate seems like a game for older, more established people. And dude, I had this baby face. I looked like a freaking 14-year-old.
I know the feeling.
Right? And so I'm out there doing business and people just people would laugh at me. Like literally, I couldn't grow hair on my face yet. I wasn't 36 until I could grow chest hair evenly on both sides of my chest. I mean, I don't know. I started puberty, but apparently didn't finish it for a couple of decades. So I think that youth was kind of a hindrance, at least maybe in my psyche.
It's a limiting belief too.
It was a limiting belief for sure. And then I think the other thing that kind of held me back was I didn't really have mentors that gave me a roadmap. I had some mentors, but I had to figure out how to partner with people and put money in deals together and become a deal maker. I figured a lot of things out that I didn't get out of books or programs or anything. And that slowed me down. But once I figured it out, dude, then the sky was the limit. It was game over.
Yeah. Absolutely. Any of those challenges turned into, great opportunities, successes, looking back now, you get so hung up sometimes, you hit challenges.
Oh my gosh.
You want to freak out. And then you look back and you're like, thank God that happened.
Dude, well, I'll tell you one of them. When I bought my first house, my father-in-law was, I think, a little critical. Just like, dude, this kid just figured out he's not going to be a doctor. He doesn't know what he's going to do with his life, and he's buying a house.
Loser.
A little bit. And then I bought my second house. I swear that amplified up a few levels. Like, this kid's crazy. Who needs 2 houses?
Yeah.
He didn't understand really what I was doing.
Yep.
Then I got my third house, and I think he just wrote me off. When I was trying to get my 4th house done, I got stuck, and my father-in-law called me up and he said, hey, I had a dream that you and I were doing real estate. And I thought, that's weird, especially with the way that I think you feel about me.
Yeah.
But he actually asked what I was doing, kind of crunched the numbers, saw that I was kicking trash out of 401ks, IRAs, decided to say, hey, I'll put up the money, we'll go in 50-50. Did that deal, made a pile of money, and we started buying homes. I stumbled into this concept of partnering. I perceived that as a weakness because I didn't make that happen. It seemed like it kind of happened to me, almost like it fell in my lap.
Got it.
But something then I turned it into an advantage, Joe. I was sitting in college as a senior. I had about 10 homes. My father-in-law had bought a bunch of homes. And I got to the point where I'm like, man, if I had more father-in-laws, I could go faster. So I'm like, dude, how do I get more father-in-laws? And I started getting a little creative. And I realized that there were other men and women in the community that knew that I was out there investing, that had been kind of following me, catching up on me. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to invite them to lunch. And I invited 4 executives to lunch. I showed them my portfolio of 10 homes, and all of them said the same thing. This kid's kicking the trash out of my 401k. They all started giving me money. I started buying deals, and then the sky was the limit. There was nowhere I couldn't go. I started buying real estate like crazy.
That's awesome. You got me nervous when you said you wanted more father.
I know. Yeah. I got myself a little nervous there for a moment, too. I was pontificating in my college class.
One's been enough for me.
I know, right?
But that's great. It's amazing how something like that happens, challenge, roadblock, and then all of a sudden a light bulb goes off.
It's weird. It's almost like sometimes our challenges are the key in disguise to unlocking the next door of success.
100%. All of our challenges in business, in life, have made us that much stronger.
Truth.
And have just been looking back now, amazing. Changed everything. So, Kris, what are you doing with your life now?
No, it's a great question. I mean, that was 13 years ago when I kind of hit that financial freedom point. And, really, Joe, since then, I've really found that my deepest purpose and excitement and energy for life really comes from just helping other people get on a very similar path. We have a massive problem in our country with people being financially uneducated. They don't know how to make money. They all want more of it. But seriously, our concept of training is not, it's very substandard. It's not optimal. It's not where it needs to be. So through my YouTube channel and also through my live events and then through my books, and then I got some programs, I'm basically teaching and educating people, hey, it took me years to figure my system out. Now why don't you just duplicate it and do it way faster than me? And dude, my big joy right now is when I go to my events, I've got my clients that are now transacting all this real estate, moving towards financial freedom, experiencing it, and that's joyful for me. So I know I'm it's all about impact. My wife and our charitable foundation is doing some amazing stuff right now in the world, and we're just loving giving back as much as we can.
That's great. How can people find out more, about you, Kris, and what you got going on?
I've written several books. My most recent one is called Unstoppable. It is my guide for the ultimate real estate game plan, how someone can go from nothing to millions. And I'm giving that book away for free. We'll actually pop it in the mail for you. So if anyone wants a free copy of the book, I think they'll be able to find it in the description on this video or whatnot.
Yeah, we'll drop that in the description before. Please make sure to check that out. And just, as we wrap up here, definitely check out Kris too, Limitless TV, Kris Krohn, and check out everything he's got going on. And he's got some great videos that really help you if you're looking to get started in the real estate game. as we wrap this video up, Kris, what's one thing that you would leave anyone with that's either in the real estate game or looking to get in the real estate game? One piece of advice.
My advice would be to understand that your age, how much money you have, how good or bad your credit is, college degree, all have zero bearing on your ability to live life the way that you want. I started with nothing, no money, no credit, and I have people in very similar situations or people coming back from big failures, and they're stepping into my space and they're crushing it. And I just want you to know that it doesn't matter what financial situation you're in, there's hope. And it doesn't have to be small incremental growth. You can have from one year to the next massive overnight change. You just got to get yourself in the right game.
That's an awesome piece of advice. It's all about mindset. I couldn't agree more. And I hope you take that advice and run with it and crush it in business.